everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Alright, we are here. We are here reviewing Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer. Initially I wasn't going to buy this book. I wasn't. Even though I own the original quartet. No, I don't own Life and Death. No, I don't own the Second Life of, what is it, Bree Tanner? Yeah, I don't own those. I only own the original 4 books. Now, like I said, I wasn't going to buy it. But my need to have a complete collection overruled me. And I bought it during a shopping spree with Barnes & Noble gift cards that I received for Christmas. Yeah, I spent $150 that day. Oh, $180, but I had $150 in gift cards. So, oops, oh well. I read a lot of mixed reviews for this book. Some people enjoyed it, some people didn't. I have to say I did enjoy it. So I don't regret this purchase. And this is why. Okay, this is why I don't regret the purchase. I will say that Stephenie Meyer's writing has improved because I remember thinking, even when I was reading Eclipse, I remember thinking, gosh, Bella is such a Mary Jane. You know, she's such... Mary Jane? No, Mary Sue. Mary Sue? She's such a two-dimensional character. Oh, so very perfect, right? No flaws whatsoever. I couldn't relate to her at all. I enjoyed the cheesiness, romance of the story, and it's funny. In the books, I'm Team Edward, but for the movies, which, yes, I do own, don't judge me, they're my guilty pleasure. For the movies, I'm Team Jacob. And I think that's partially due to the way that the actors bring to life the characters, because I couldn't stand Jacob in the books. He was such a dick. Whereas Edward was just so understanding, you know? And then in the movie, I like Taylor Lautner's reinterpretation. But this is not a review of the movie. This is a review of Midnight Sun. Meyer's writing style has improved greatly, I will say. It's a thick book, okay? In case you're wondering, it's really just Twilight from Edward's perspective. That's it. So if you're not interested in reading that, then don't read it. You probably wouldn't enjoy it. My thing is just check it out from the library. You know, it never hurts to give a book a shot. Especially if you were a Twihard fan, like me. Don't judge me. I'm in my 30s now. I have this itching need to rewatch the movies, though. Her writing style has improved greatly. I think her scene structure is way more defined, and I do think that through Edward's perspective, we do get to see more dimension for Bella's character. I liked her more. I thought she actually had a personality here, because you're feeding off of Edward's senses, and he's a vampire, so sense of smell, her heart rate, you know, he can't read what she's thinking, so he's trying to decipher her facial expressions, her tone. I think that lends itself to making Bella a stronger character than she was in the original series. And honestly, I think I would have absolutely no guilt about reading the original trilogy. I liked it. I liked it when I read it, you know. Would I go back and read it now? Probably not, because I don't think it would have aged well, and I'd be like, what was I thinking? But I liked it when I was reading, and I liked those memories I had when I was reading it. I enjoyed it. But after reading Midnight Sun, I'm thinking, wow, I probably would have enjoyed it more if it had been from Edward's perspective. Because he's a vampire, and he has a lot of guilt. There were times when he reminded me of Louis from, you know, Interview with the Vampire, Brad Pitt's interpretation of Louis. He reminded me of Louis at times, just kind of with that guilt of what he is. Like, we knew he had that guilt from Bella's perspective. We already knew that. but you're really getting in touch with his emotions for this novel, which is why it's long. You know, it's way longer than Twilight, which I have over here in my bookshelf. That's why I'm turning my head. I was gonna try to pull it out to compare, but I'm kind of blocking it here. But it's longer. So I will say this, it does drag sometimes. Was it a struggle to get to? A little bit, because some scenes were just like, oh, I've already read this. You know, you're just kind of rereading Twilight through his perspective. But what I thought was really interesting was there's more in it. Because sometimes if you're just rereading the same scene, I had this itching need to just kind of skip the pages. But what kept me compelled to read it was his mental connection with his siblings, his conversations he was having with them. Sometimes it was one way, you know, with Rosalie and Jasper and Emmett, it's like one way. He has to respond verbally. But with Alice, they've always been kind of like this. And she can talk right back to him, probably because of her own gift of foresight. And I thought that was really cool. I liked it. I did. I liked seeing this more in-depth viewpoint of his relationship with them, especially Rosalie and Jasper. Again, they have more personality as well. Jasper, you know, from the books, he was just kind of there, you know, that silently brooding, always looking like he's suffering character. You don't really get to see a lot of personality from him until Eclipse, really. So from the get-go, you're kind of like his smirks, the side smiles. You're seeing more because Edward is more observant of his siblings than Bella is. So I liked that. I enjoyed seeing more personality from Jasper, and I enjoyed getting to know Rosalie a little bit more. I liked Rosalie. I understood her. But again, like I said, they were just kind of there in the original series. For me personally, I felt like they were just surface characters. You're really getting in-depth knowledge of who they are, their feelings, their guilt, their regrets of who they are. In Midnight Sun, that's what I enjoyed. You get to see why Rosalie has so much anger. She's just, you know, when Bella first meets her, she's just this angry character, and Edward's just like, oh, well, she's just kind of jealous of you. Like, she's jealous that she's human, and you understand Rosalie a little bit more right from the beginning, whereas, you know, it takes books to understand her and her pain and her antagonistic attitude she has. Like, you kind of regret not you, like, she regrets who she is, what she is. And I really liked seeing the emotion that was dripping from the characters. I really liked getting to know more of their history as a family as well. You know, we know about Carlisle's past, but you're really seeing more of his past, and the Rosalies and Emmets. You're seeing things that you didn't see before in the original Twilight series, and that's what I thought was most engaging to me, which is why I ended up liking it, because there's more history. And again, Edward's perspective is way more interesting than Bella's is. He gives dimension to the world around him, and maybe that's because he's a vampire, so he has heightened senses. But I don't regret buying this book. Was it spectacular? No, it was not spectacular. It was not like mind-blowingly spectacular. But it wasn't bad. You know, I was expecting this with, I went into this reading like, oh God, what am I getting myself into? Am I going to regret this? Oh God, I hope I don't regret this. But, you know, the first 250 pages I couldn't put down, you know, and, I was with my family and they were all playing with my son, so I really had time to just kind of sit down and just read you know, with no distractions. And 267 pages later, I was just like, oh, I have to start getting ready for work. So I was really engaged. You know, that's just an example of how engaged I was with Edward's perspective, you know, with his life as a whole. I enjoyed it. Will everyone enjoy it? No, probably not. Probably not. I would say don't go into this with high expectations. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be a spectacular masterpiece. It's not. But it does offer more than the original Twilight series did. And Meyer's writing style, I could see right from the beginning, wow, she has improved as a writer. She has grown as a writer. In my opinion, I think she has grown because like I said, her scene structure, her pacing, her characterization, it's done way better than my memory remembers it. Like I said, I remember reading Eclipse and I'm like, God, this girl, she's so two-dimensional. I didn't say that once. I didn't think that once. In fact, I kept thinking, I'm like, wow, these characters aren't really two-dimensional anymore. Her writing style really has improved. And again, I love the original Twilight series. I own it. And I own the movies. I went to the midnight showing for the movies. I'm a Twilight fan. It's my guilty pleasure. We're all allowed a guilty pleasure. So, I ultimately did enjoy it. I was pleased that Midnight Sun came out. I'm glad she did it. I'm glad we got to see the story from Edward's perspective because it does offer more than the original Twilight book does. And I love the pomegranate too because he makes a lot of allusions to Hades and Persephone. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a moment to get it. I'm like, why a pomegranate, right? And then I was reading it and he makes the reference and I'm like, duh. He thinks he lives in hell and he thinks he's luring this girl into it. And he regrets it. 100%. So it makes sense why a pomegranate is here. It makes sense. So yeah, no regrets. I'll have to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, not spectacularly mind-blowing. Was it good? Yeah, but it wasn't like knock my socks off good. It was a decent story. Her writing style has improved, and it offered more, you know, in my opinion. For me, it offered me more. So I got more than what I thought I was going to get when I started reading this book. So I was pleasantly surprised and impressed. Now, if you want to go ahead and purchase the book, I will include a link in the description below for Midnight Sun. Again, thick book. But I liked it. Again, if money's tight or if you're just unsure if you're going to like it, because I definitely recommend checking it from your local library. Give it a shot. That's all I'm saying. You know, if you liked the original Twilight series, like I did when I was a teenager, I did. And now I'm about to be 30 this year, and, you know, I enjoyed it. I was not disappointed. I just say give it a shot. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. And if you do like it, then you liked it. You know, what do you get to lose? My thing is, if you don't like a book, just stop reading it. Life is too short to be wasted reading books you don't like. But if you do end up liking it like me, I went through those first 267 pages like, whoo, they just flew right by me. Didn't even notice. If you get sucked into the story, then you know what? You get sucked into the story. What do you got to lose? You either love it or you hate it. And if you hate it, you just stop reading it. On that note, I hope you all will continue to support me by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Please don't forget to share it with all your book loving friends. You can also support me by making a $1 donation on Buy Me a Coffee or by purchasing one of my handmade candles. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.